What's up, everybody? This is 2003 JL. It's time for another action movie review. I've been away for a minute, but now I'm back with a new one. I've been trying to look for a movie to review, and I'm gonna throw out there and give you one of my personal favorites. Underworld, released in 2003. It's directed by Len Wiseman. It was written by Kevin Grevioux, Len Wiseman, and Danny McBride. It's starring Kate Beckinsale, Scott Speedman, Michael Sheen, Bill Nighy, and Shane Brawley. In order to introduce you to the plot, I better give you the backstory of this film. In this world, there is a war going on unknown to mankind between vampires and werewolves. Vampires see werewolves as an inferior species, and werewolves are sick and tired of having their necks stepped on by the vampires. It should also be noted that a subplot involves the fact that werewolves were at one time the slaves of the vampires. Before the storyline happened, Lucien, who's the leader of the werewolves, was supposedly killed by Craven, the leader of the vampire house, at the beginning during this film. The subplot involves Victor, the king of the leader of the vampires, had tried to have Lucien killed and also killed his daughter because they were to be married. Victor feared a blending of the species, which he calls an abomination, and overall feels that vampires are superior to werewolves. Jump hundreds of thousands of years later to Celine. She's a death dealer. She is on a personal quest of vengeance against the werewolves who supposedly has slaughtered her entire family. She was then found by Victor, and he sired her and turned her into a vampire and offered her a chance at revenge against the werewolves. At least that's what she's led on to believe. She finds out that the werewolves are stalking a person named Michael Corvin. The reason being is that Michael Corvin's blood holds a key to being able to combine the vampire and werewolf strains. Unlike other vampire werewolf movies, their powers don't have any mystical origins. Rather, it is based on science and the fact that the vampire and werewolf strains are in fact a sort of mutation or disease. Now, Michael Corvin is descendant of Corvinus, a man who was apparently made immortal to the fact that he was able to withstand a plague that had ravaged his village. And Corvinus had two sons, one bitten by bat, one bitten by wolf, and thus created the mutations of vampires and werewolves. That's the legend that's told by Victor briefly in the movie. And that's pretty much the gist of the movie. For the most part, Celine goes on a quest to find Michael and unravel what's going on as to why the werewolves are stalking him. In the meantime, Craven, the leader of the vampire house, he's the one that's betraying the vampires, and he's working with Lucien. And I don't want to give too much else of the plot away. I'll leave it up to you to decide to go rent and watch it. For the most part, this is one of my favorite movies, and I'll tell you why. I like genre movies. And in terms of, there have been more successful vampire movies than werewolf movies, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't be too aggressive about it, because, But there have been more vampire movies that were popular than werewolf movies. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. And you can't help but wonder who would win in a fight, a werewolf or a vampire. Now you have to consider, depending on what movie you're watching, they would have different abilities. In this film, more powerful werewolves are able to transform without the help of a full moon. And they're also, weak. They have weakness against silver. Vampires in this movie, they're not your run-of-the-mill vampires where you hold up a cross or throw holy water on them and they'll burn. Sunlight kills them, decapitation kills them, and that's pretty much all you see in the movie. And these vampires, they're not your Dracula type. They don't transform into wolves. They don't turn into bats. They don't have mist, and they don't fly. They do have enhanced strength, speed, coordination, stuff like that. They are incredibly powerful in that sense, but they need weapons. They are in many ways physically inferior to werewolves in this film, but they do have better weapons, so it begs the question which one is better. And pretty much this movie laid it to rest for me. I've always wondered what it'd be like if werewolves and vampires fought, and this movie pretty much was a dream come true for me. For the most part, according to the DVD commentary, the filmmakers took a long time to get this made. They rewrote the script several times, and it finally got made. And there's some legal controversy. They said it was too similar to Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse games. But outside of that, it received, critics gave it a negative reception, which I'm not surprised by. Which I didn't expect. I mean, what the fuck? This is not Waiting for Godot, and this is not Bram Stoker's Dracula. What did they expect? I didn't expect critics to like this anyway, because they're full of shit. They like anyway that's full of melodrama and has no substance whatsoever and fake Shakespearean-esque acting. This is a genre film. That's all it is. If you look at it and you're not gonna like it, then why even watch it and review it? Actually, it received a cult following. At least I follow it cultly, and it received a follow-up story with a bigger budget, in Underworld Evolution, which I need to go pick up and look at again because I only watched it once. Hopefully, I can add it to my DVD collection. And there's even talks of a prequel being released next year. But that's about it. I highly recommend Underworld. If you want to watch something different outside of your run-of-the-mill vampire werewolf thing, Underworld is definitely for you. Especially on top of this, an action flick. For the most part, rent it. If somebody gives it to you as a gift, or you're able to buy it, low priced, previewed, go ahead and add it to your collection. It sure as hell wouldn't hurt. You may not like it at first glance, but it grows on you just like it did on me, and I thought it was pretty decent. Well, that's about it. Stay tuned.